Hello there, BoBo the Bitcoiner is back. Why Bitcoin is now an unquestionable asset? Despite Biden administration's Operation Choke Point 2.0 from January 2021 to January 2025, Bitcoin continues to survive. Bitcoin fundamental cannot be stifled or controlled. Threat of regulatory crackdown has held big money back for too long. That fear is now gone since Donald Trump took power. Spot Bitcoin ETF launched in January 2024 officially legitimized Bitcoin, allowing financial institutions to invest Bitcoin in earnest. Even that, it only took Bitcoin ETF 10 months to beat gold ETF record. We take years. And this is just the beginning because institutions normally require 18 to 24 months to prepare regulatory compliances. Soon, we can expect most institutions to adopt Bitcoin to the tune of 2 to 5% portfolio. Bitcoin not only outbid itself from hereon. Isn't that something? Not only institutions or financial institutions are adopting Bitcoin, even private companies like Strategies and Metalplanet, etc., are also making Bitcoin their reserve asset. Bitcoin productions of 450 Bitcoin per day is too little for the public and private companies, not to mention the conservative pension fund, insurance, sovereign countries, and even central banks. Long-term investors are soaking up whatever coins short-term traders are selling off. Now, even 401k pension fund is allowed to divert portfolio to Bitcoin, which clearly indicates Bitcoin is no more a risk-on asset. 401k is the most conservative investor of all. What if I tell you only 1.1 million Bitcoin or 5% is left to be mined from its finite 21 million Bitcoin? Not to mention that 4 to 5 billion Bitcoins already lost forever. Isn't that something to think about? So little is left for the world population. And right now, the world population only have 5% adopted to Bitcoin. While volatility is history as Bitcoin becomes more acceptable to the world. No more 70 to 90% downside during the Bitcoin's kindergarten stage. Bitcoin now progressed from primary to secondary level, and 20 to 30% volatility is more realistic now. As Bitcoin moves into university level, I think 5 to 15% becomes more normal. But the upsurge is still immeasurable. We are looking at 5 to 15% price volatility. against 5 to 15%, 5 to 15 times the price growth. This is different. Bitcoin will grow at internet speed. The supply and liquidity constraint make it the perfect storm for the booming demand to send Bitcoin price skyrocketing. Not to mention the new possibilities of Bitcoin yield when progressing into the decentralized finance arena. Another growth that is immeasurable. Another area of growth is the network, Bitcoin network effect. It's more and more, as more and more institutions, companies, and retail investors adopt Bitcoin, the network effect will come into play. Bitcoin's value grows with its user base. The more people adopt and trust Bitcoin, the more valuable the network becomes. This explains why Bitcoin has survived the multiple boom and bust cycles. A good example of Bitcoin network is internet, email, Google, Amazon, etc. All their values come from the network effect. Bitcoin behaves like a commodity, a tech stock, and a speculative token. All often come together at once. That complexity is what makes Bitcoin both so fascinating and so difficult to value with the traditional models. In the end, Bitcoin worth is anchored not in what it does today, but in what its user believe it can do or become tomorrow. And as long as that belief persists, backed by utility, adoption, and incentives, the value will continue to persist. So, trust and scarcity are the major movers that drive people to adopt Bitcoin network. Our current fiat currency has basically lost its trust, especially the US dollars, where it can be print at will indefinitely. So, what other currency can we trust? Bitcoin is that currency, since it has demonstrated and proven its trust value after 16 years of performance. Quick, cheap, no middleman, cryptographically clarify and verify that every transaction is legitimate and permanently recorded in the decentralized blockchain for all to see. Once recorded, cannot be modified or erased. Most of all, it cannot be hacked. Something that no system before, whether man-made or computer design, has ever materialized. Bitcoin ecosystem is now the only one of its kind in our modern world. Now, let's analyze what could go wrong with Bitcoin. Even the change of new US government by 2029, there is no possibility to reverse Bitcoin acceptance. Financial institutions or financial market is too deeply involved in Bitcoin already. Not to forget, 2028 will be the next halving. Bitcoin production will be cut to 1.5625 Bitcoin per block, even scarcer. Further supply shock. Network effect continues to grow year after year. Looking at all above, Bitcoin has nowhere to go but up, and $1 million will inevitably achieve, right? If you find this YouTube interesting, you can also follow my Telegram's BoBo the Bitcoiners update, where I publish every day, focusing on what is happening in the Bitcoin market. Instead of you having to comb the market for Bitcoin information, I condense them for your easy reference, instead of you having to do the research yourself. As I have done all research already, I said, why not share it with my audience? No, this is purely Bitcoin educational material, not financial advice. So if you are interested in my Telegram, BoBo the Bitcoiner, please put in the comments or send me a note with your Telegram's monitor, and I will include it into my Telegram broadcast. Okay? Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.